sometimes we tend to work past when it's even beneficial to continue working. And well, I toss these rocks back because my niece is too. Good example of that is these raspberry bushes I planted, and some of the leaves, if you look at them, let's see if we can get a good image. Hopefully that's focusing on there. You can tell it's a little bit brown. Some of them look a little wilted, but I transplanted these. Here's an even better example. Transplanted these, and ever since I did that, I've been watering them every single day. And I even made little holes in the ground, like little funnels, to better water them. And I thought I was being responsible. I come out here and I see leaves like this, leaves like that, and I think they must not get enough water. So I keep watering them and keep putting in work till eventually I start thinking, there's no way they're not getting enough water. There has to be some other reason. Because these, and this one plant right here that has some of the roots exposed, actually looks decent and has no bad leaves. But all the other ones look like they're wilting. They look like they're dying, and I'm like, how? Like, I'm really trying my best and working to take care of these things, and yet they are still dying on me. And it was just frustrating me, and I'm like, I think I'm over watering them. And with that in mind, I was like, I look up the symptoms. Okay, what are the symptoms of overwatering? I'm like, why is it showing up like I'm neglecting them? Why do the leaves look horrible? I mean, these are ones I transplanted 2 years ago. They look absolutely beautiful. Look at all those buds coming in. I'm gonna have an absolutely insane amount of raspberries come this summer and fall. But not being a gardener, really, or not being a good gardener, I didn't understand how symptoms of neglect were the same as symptoms of, I don't know, what's the opposite of neglect? Over care, pampering. I'm not exactly a literary genius, but the symptoms were the same. And I came to realize I was actually causing the roots to become the soil to become waterlogged, the roots to, I mean, they could be moldy, and I'm gonna have to not water those plants for a while and kind of monitor them and make sure they're healthy. I'm gonna watch some videos and do some research on that. But it reminded me of this other story where I keep wanting to work on my business even when the work I'm doing might not necessarily be the most beneficial thing for me to do, solely because I associate doing something with being productive, and I'm still trying to form the connection and break that original idea that no matter what you do, being productive is good. No. It's all about what you're spending your time doing. I thought I was doing a good job with my garden, and as you can see, the other ones that I don't water as much are coming in a lot nicer. Those bigger ones down there, they're suffering, but I think I caught my mistake early enough. If anyone actually knows anything about raspberries, please let me know in the comments. But it reminded me of this other saying my brother had, where once you build a ship, once you build a business, once you build a machine, we're just gonna go with the boat analogy. Once you build a ship, you have to step back and you have to put it in the water in order to see where it's leaking from. That's the only way you can actually test how good of a ship you built. If you're in that ship constantly bailing out water, then you'll never actually know how good of a ship it is. And that's something I somehow struggle to do that. It's like, once I build something, once I build a website and connect an ad to it and start running ads, I'm like, okay, how can I optimize the website? I'm looking at everything. And it's like, no, you have to literally sit back and let your work have time to mature. You need patience, and you need to have the ability to work on other aspects of things you want to get done instead of keep constantly trying to improve a tiny thing, because you'll keep trying to improve it, and you keep trying to improve it, and you keep trying to improve it. I'm not even saying improving is bad, but you'll notice like one somewhat small error and you try to improve that. You'll notice one tiny other error and try to improve that. You keep going down this road, but you never actually just let it sit there and exist. And sometimes you realize, oh, I kept trying to like optimize a dog turd. Because yeah, sometimes you create something that's not good, and when you keep trying to optimize it, you lose track of the bigger picture of like, is this even worth improving, or is there a whole new approach I should be taking to it? I guess it kind of just goes back to getting stuck in work mode, which is like this default thing I seem to go to, which is why I meditate, why I go for walks, to escape it. Because I default to working, and I love working, and it makes me feel productive, and being productive creates this positive dopamine feedback loop in my head. And I will just keep working and working until I'm actually not even producing anything beneficial. I'm literally just working for the sake of work. And I have such a tendency to do this, which is why I make videos talking about it, because I'm trying to understand my own tendencies, document them for myself, and hopefully warn others. And if you notice similar tendencies within yourself, I'll continue watching. I've made videos, I've made huge improvements in order to actually help myself not do this, because you need the awareness to reflect upon what you've created and actually understand whether or not it's worth optimizing that, or if it's worth ditching that project and going in a completely new direction. And I think Elon Musk, has a quote from this, and he basically says, I think it's like, any engineer can optimize, but a great one questions whether or not that approach should actually be the one used. And I've done this in my business. I've done this while working for other businesses. I'm just trying to come up with examples right now. Here's a funny one. So I had a job, and I mean, if you watched enough of my videos, you'll know who this job was with. I had a job, and we bought this robot dog, the Boston Dynamics robot dog. And first of all, Boston Dynamics, if anyone knows anyone at Boston Dynamics who watched this video, your dog kind of sucks, man. It's completely neutered, and I think that's an excellent word for it, because Boston Dynamics, I've been to the company, I've talked to the engineers, they are freaking paranoid as hell. Try not to swear. They're paranoid that someone's going to put a gun on the back of the dog, and it's going to tank all of their sales, all of their publicity, and there's going to be massive calls for sanctions. So they highly, highly, highly limit what the dog can actually do, and make it so it's not really useful in a lot of circumstances, because they're so afraid of that one use case. Even though I could think of other ways to get around that if you wanted to put a gun on a dog, but that's not even the point of the video. I kind of see someone being like, well, you can't do this now. I'm like, really? I think of 10 other ways I could do this. See, you're ineffective. Anyways, the point of this was, we had to have the Spot robot dog walking around in the lab, and it had to be able to see that a human was nearby and then slow down to like 1 mile per hour, and then if there are no people nearby, it could speed up to like 4 miles an hour so that I could just move faster. But Boston Dynamics is petrified of anyone being able to change the dog or use its vision in such a way, because like, well, if someone put a gun in the back of it, they can make the gun point at someone when it saw a person. So literally with the dog, you can only tell it, go here, and then once you're there, you can have the instruments on the back of it calculate stuff. You can have it take pictures of stuff, and then you have to tell it, go here. And only once it stops at those points can you tell it to do something. You can't say, walk here, and if you see something, slow down. And it's such, if you don't understand robotics, it's literally such a big part of how the dog could be used, because it limits the way we can integrate it into society, because we can't tell it, slow down if you see a person. I mean, this is all based off of my knowledge of the dog a year ago, so if they've changed it, good job, Austin, but if you haven't, you're being stupid. Anyways, the company that brought me on to do the dog, even in my interview for the company, I told them, I don't think we should actually do the dog. I think what we should do is get a bunch of interns, put little headpieces on them, and then have them, I don't know, get a pool table, have them like play pool all day, and then when one of the scientists needs them, they can call up the intern and have the intern, like, they have a little chest camera or a little head camera and glasses, and the scientist can tell you, move arm up, left, right, up, push that button. Instead, they have me spending hours upon hours trying to make a dog do this, and to write all this code, and the whole time I'm thinking, like, this isn't even the best way to do it, but they were so caught up in the AI hype, the robotics hype, and I'm like, you're literally trying to create like a robotic person to do tasks and move stuff around, and we could hire out interns to do this. And while I personally have a rule that I'll never work a job that I could program a robot to do myself, like my skill level is such that I can program robots to do a lot of stuff, and I'm really good at code and design, and I'll never work a job I could automate. Granted, I will automate that job and have a robot do it and get paid for it, but I'll never work a job that requires me to actually keep showing up and not allow me to replace myself with a robot. However, I know some people love that. They love the mindless work, and I took an assembly job once. I only worked there for 2 days, but during that time, I went in and I was talking to them, and they're like, yeah, I love it here. I can listen to music while I work. And I'm like, oh my god, this is literally, it was like brain death. Like, no longer do you need to think. You just hit these sequences of buttons, and the only reason the company actually kept you around was because we're making defibrillators, the things that you put on someone's chest, and if they're having a heart attack and it shocks them back to life or something. And I was doing quality inspection for them. And I'm like, the only reason you have me around is because if the defibrillator messes up, you can blame me and then fire me. And that's a lot cheaper than if you automated a robot to do this and the robot somehow messed up. Then you can't really blame the robot, because that's going to be a lot more expensive. But that's literally the only reason they had a person working there, because the job was so simple. It was, you have to click 18 things on a computer and then 2 buttons on the machine itself. In my brain, like, I need to think, and my brain was like screaming. And I literally went home that day and had a dream that my parents died of like brain aneurysms or something. I had some nightmare, and the next day I'm just like, I quit. Like, I can't do this. Like, I cannot not think. Like, it was too painful to try to shut down my brain. And I'm very happy that I have that trait. So, yeah, we're on a little bit of a ramble there, but anyways. Notice when you're working for work's sake versus when tasks actually need to get done. And try to prioritize what you're doing in order to maximize the output, because not all tasks are created equal. Not all tasks have equal outcomes. You might spend 5 minutes at one task and it could produce 80% of the results versus spending hours at another to get very little. It's a beautiful day out. With that said, I need to go back to work, and I do get the irony of that, but trust me, I've looked at what I'm doing and it is productive. But make sure to get outside, enjoy life, and peace out.